let's start. Okay, so you all already have seen the first part of the video, right? Okay, so I'm not going ahead with the theory, not explaining the theory again, rather, I'm explaining, or you can say discussing the question answers. So, whichever question answers are important, or maybe all of them, I will discuss them with you so that this becomes kind of a revision on the basis of what kind of questions are asked from this particular part of the chapter. Also, we will do the some of the numericals from here, so you will get an idea about what kind of numericals are there in this part. Okay, so let's discuss the exercise. That will make it more interesting. Okay, the first question: what do you understand by the term upthrust of a fluid? Describe an experiment to show its existence. What do you mean by upthrust? And describe an experiment to show its existence. So, the answer to this question lies in the beginning of the chapter. Okay. Now, upthrust has another name, which is buoyant force. Okay. The definition of buoyant force is given over here. The upward force exerted on a body by the fluid in which it is submerged. It is called the upthrust or buoyant force. Okay, you have to write this definition. There are more informations about upthrust or buoyant force given over here for your reference. The experiment which you can describe briefly is either experiment number 1, which is pushing an empty can into water. I'm sure you might have tried it. If you push an empty can in water, it cannot submerge. It cannot submerge. You have to exert force on it because its tendency is to float. Okay, if you apply force on it, only then it gets submerged. So, when the empty can is submerged, you have to keep on exerting a force on the empty can in the downward direction. So, this force which you are exerting is against the force which water is exerting on the can in the upward direction. So, your force is against the upthrust of water. Okay, so if you want to submerge it more down, more to the bottom, towards the bottom, to a greater depth, you have to exert more force. You might have felt that. Okay, same thing happens while pushing a cork into water. They are saying that if you put a piece of cork on the surface of water, it floats with nearly 2 upon 5 of its volume inside the water. So, 2 parts out of 5 parts of its volume are inside, and 3 parts out of 5 parts are outside. So, it is clearly floating, okay, with majority of its volume outside. But now, if you want to push it inside, you have to exert force on it. Why? Because water is exerting upthrust on it. So, these two experiments show that whenever these kind of objects which have a tendency to float on water, they are pushed down under the water or inside the water, they experience an upward force against which we have to exert an external force, and this upward force is known as upthrust. Now the explanation is given over here. Okay, there are not many questions based, or you can say asked from this explanation part, but this is for your own satisfaction. If you understand this explanation, why does this upthrust work, and what is the reason behind the upthrust which is acting on any object which is submerged in a fluid, you will find the answers over here. Okay, you can understand that any body which is submerged in a fluid is acted upon by two forces. One, which is the force due to gravity, which is its own weight, which pulls the object downwards, and the other is upthrust due to water, which pushes the body upward. Okay, when a body is floating, the weight is equal to the upthrust. कोई भी फ्लोटिंग बॉडी के लिए W और FB इक्वल होता है. W इज वेट ऑफ द बॉडी, FB इज द upward force or buoyant force or upthrust. Okay, now what happens is, if you want to push any body which is floating under the water, below the surface of water, you need to increase the force which is acting in the downward direction. That means you need to exert force in the direction of the weight of the object, that is in downward direction. So you need to exert external force in order to submerge the body below the surface of water. Okay, now what happens as the body is pushed more and more inside the water, the upthrust on it increases and becomes maximum. So you keep on pushing the body more and more inside the water, the upthrust also increases and becomes maximum. When it becomes maximum, when the body is completely immersed in water, then it does not increase. Then the upthrust does not increase. एक बार एक ऑब्जेक्ट को पूरा पानी के अंदर डुबा दिया तुमने, फिर वो अपथ्रस्ट इंक्रीज नहीं होगा, वो मैक्सिमम हो जाएगा. ठीक है, फिर उसको और तुम नीचे लेके जा सकते हो, अपथ्रस्ट विल रिमेन द सेम. ओके, when you release that force which you have exerted on that submerged body, the body will automatically come up. You might have seen that. कोई वुडन पीस या कॉर्क को लेके ये तुम एक्सपेरिमेंट भी कर सकते हो. यू कैन put it on the surface of water, see that it's floating, push it below, you will see that more force is required to push it below. Once it is underwater, no more force will be required. The same amount of force will be required to keep it underwater. But as soon as you leave your hand, or if you stop applying force in the downward direction, the body immediately comes up, and the force which is driving it up is upthrust. Okay, now remember, not only liquids have upthrust. Okay, gases also have the property of upthrust or buoyancy, because gases are also fluids. Remember that. A balloon filled with a lighter gas, let's say helium, if you leave it in air, what happens? It goes up. Have you seen? If you leave the balloon, it goes up. A balloon filled with lighter gas, like helium, will go up. Why does it go up? Because air is heavier than helium. So air is exerting upthrust on helium balloon and driving the helium balloon to the ceiling. If there is no ceiling, it will go to the sky, and it will keep on rising until one point comes where the density of helium and density of air becomes equal. Then the balloon will stop, and due to low pressure, low atmospheric pressure, it will burst. So helium balloon कब तक ऊपर जाता है? एक पॉइंट आता है जहाँ पे वो रुक जाता है और वो बर्स्ट हो जाता है. So this is what happens to the balloon. And why the helium balloon is going up? That is due to upthrust exerted by air on the balloon. ठीक है, so not only liquids but gases also have the property of upthrust or buoyancy. Remember that. Okay, so I think the answer to the first question was obtained satisfactorily. You can now easily write the answer to the first question. Okay, second question, the answer is given over here. Still I will discuss with you. In what direction and at what point does the buoyant force acts on a body due to a liquid? Okay, so we know that buoyancy or buoyant force upthrust or buoyant force acts on a body in the upward direction at the center of buoyancy. I have explained this concept in the video. Center of gravity and center of buoyancy. Can anyone tell me which force acts at the center of gravity?
Sir, can you repeat?
Which force acts at the center of gravity and in which direction?
The force of the weight and in the downward direction.
Don't call it force of the weight. Call it gravitational force.
Gravitation.
Gravitational force is the weight. Okay. So the weight acts in the downward direction at the center of gravity, or gravitational force acts in the downward direction at the center of gravity. Every body has center of gravity. Even our body also has center of gravity. You know where is the center of gravity of human body? ह्यूमन बॉडी का सेंटर ऑफ ग्रेविटी किधर है? इट इज 2 इंचेस बिलो योर नेवल. तुम्हारे नेवल के 2 इंचेस नीचे तुम्हारा सेंटर ऑफ ग्रेविटी. सो इफ यू ट्राई टू बैलेंस योर बॉडी एट दैट पॉइंट, you will be able to balance your whole body on one point below your navel. That is where this tightrope walkers, they hold their long stick in their hand in that position to keep a balance, to make their body more symmetrical. So every body has got center of gravity, and the weight of every body acts on this center of gravity in the downward direction. But upthrust does not act at center of gravity always. It acts in the upward direction at the center of buoyancy. Center of buoyancy is different, center of gravity is different. Sometimes it happens that center of buoyancy and center of gravity, they coincide. Okay, so I have already explained that, but we'll again discuss if the matter comes up in another question. What is meant by the term buoyancy? Again, this question has been answered in the second paragraph itself. Buoyancy is the tendency of any body to exert upward force. Buoyancy is the tendency of any fluid to exert upward force on any body which is immersed in it. Buoyancy is the tendency to exert upward force on any body which is immersed in it. Define upthrust and state its unit. Okay, upthrust we have already defined. Upthrust is the upward force exerted by any fluid on any object which is immersed in it in the upward direction. What is the SI unit of upthrust? Can anyone tell me?
Newton or kgf? Newton.
Yes, SI unit is Newton, not kgf. kgf is gravitational unit, other unit. So there can be only one SI unit. For one quantity, one SI unit. You cannot have two different SI units for any quantity. Okay, so for any force, the SI unit is Newton. Okay, kgf is also one of the unit, but it is not the SI unit. Since upthrust is a force, it will have only one SI unit, which is Newton. Okay, next is, what is the cause of upthrust? At which point it can be considered to act? Okay, we just understood about the cause of upthrust in the I think beginning paragraph. I also discussed the explanation. Let me find a correct answer for the cause of upthrust, because no, that we have not discussed yet. reason for upthrust. Reason for upthrust is over here. Yes, the answer lies in this diagram, which I have explained in the video also. So the reason behind upthrust is the difference in the forces exerted by the fluid on the object which is submerged in it are unequal in the vertical direction. Now suppose this block is submerged in water. Okay. What happens is that this fluid has this property of exerting force in all directions. It exerts force in the right direction, left direction, upward direction, okay, downward direction, all oblique directions, everywhere. Fluid exerts force in all the directions. Okay, so here some downward force will be exerted by this fluid, by this liquid. Acha. This force increases with the depth. As you go below the surface of fluid, this force increases. As you go below, this force increases. So which point is at a greater depth? P1 or P2? Which point is at a greater depth? Which
P2.
point? Yes, exactly. P2 is at a greater depth. तो जो पॉइंट ग्रेटर डेप्थ पे है उस पे फोर्स ज़्यादा होगा. किसका? फ्लूइड का फोर्स. अच्छा, नाउ टेल मी व्हाट इज द डायरेक्शन ऑफ फोर्स एट P1? What is the direction of force at P1?
Downwards.
Very good,
Downwards.
very good. And what is the direction of force at P2?
Vertically upwards.
Which is a greater force, P1 or P2?
P2.
P2 is greater than P1. You are exactly right. P2 is greater than P1. What is the reason behind it?
P2 is at much denser part of the liquid.
No. Liquid has uniform density. Liquid has uniform density. Liquid has same density
The
throughout.
pressure increases as the depth increases.
Exactly.
So
So
P2 is at a greater depth than P1.
that is the reason. P2 is at a greater depth than P1 and P2 will be greater than P1 uh, since the pressure exerted by fluid increases with depth. P2 will be greater than P1. So upward force on the lower surface will be greater than the downward force at the upper surface. समझ में आया? ऊपर वाली सरफेस पे जितना डाउनवर्ड फोर्स है उससे ज़्यादा नीचे वाली सरफेस का upward force होगा. So P2 will be greater than P1. Since P2 is greater than P1, right, left and any other direction, oblique directions forces, they will all cancel out each other, but this vertical forces will not cancel out each other. So the net force will remain. So what will be the net force? P2 minus P1. You understand? The net force is, net pressure you can say, is P2 minus P1. ठीक है. Now P2 is acting on an area A, P1 is also acting on an area A. They both are acting on the same area. So the net force in the downward direction will be P2 times A, and the net force in the upward direction will be P1 times A. Pressure times area is the force. So once you get the difference, that difference is the upthrust. That difference between the downward force, upward force and the downward force is the upthrust. And always any body, if it is submerged in any three-dimensional body, if it is submerged in a liquid, the pressure or the force exerted on the bottom part of the body in the upward direction will always be greater than the pressure or the force exerted by the fluid in the downward direction on the upper part of the body. मतलब नीचे से जो force आ रहा है वो हमेशा बड़ा होगा. Why? Because the force increases with the depth. Pressure increases with the depth. ठीक है. So this is the reason behind upthrust. किसी भी बॉडी को अगर पानी में सबमर्ज करोगे तो उसके नीचे वाले पार्ट पे ऊपर वाले पार्ट से ज़्यादा फोर्स होगा. इसके लिए बॉडी ऊपर की तरफ एक फोर्स फील करता है. तुम भी जब स्विमिंग पूल में जाते हो, डू यू फील दैट somebody is pushing you up, your weight has become less, your body has become lighter. Some people can even float on the water in the swimming pool with correct techniques, right? It's very easy to float. It's very difficult to sink in water because water has upthrust. Still, people sink. They sink because they drink water. Drink water means water goes into their
If the
body.
density becomes higher.
Yeah, then the density increases and they sink. So, if you breathe correct, if your breathing technique is correct, then you cannot sink. You cannot sink. You will always, because water is already there to help you to float. So, water will make you float. You just have to breathe properly so that your density becomes less than the density of water. Okay, so this is the reason for upthrust. Please remember it and frame your answer properly, because I will definitely ask you to write this answer. Cause of upthrust, and at which point can it be considered to act? It acts at the upthrust acts at the center of buoyancy. We have already found that answer. Okay, so this is one question whose answer you will write. Question number 5. Maybe it is there in your book also. Okay, so I will also tell you which answer you have to write. Okay, what time your school starts basically?
8:20.
Okay, so we have some time. Okay, why is a force needed to keep a block of wood inside water? Tell me. Here answer is also given. See, a force is needed to keep a block of wood inside water because whenever a block of wood is submerged in water, an upthrust acts on the wood in the upward direction, which does not allow it to sink. If you want to submerge this piece of wood inside water, then a force has to be exerted in the downward direction on the wooden block to keep it submerged against the upthrust. To keep it submerged against the upthrust. ऐसे करके तुम आंसर बना सकते हो. यहाँ पे जो लिखा है वो भी करेक्ट है, बट इट इज़ वेरी टू द पॉइंट. They have not framed it properly. So they have just given a hint. So you need to frame it properly कि कोई भी ऑब्जेक्ट जब पानी पे फ्लोट कर रहा है और तुम्हें उसको सबमर्ज करना है, तो you need an force to be applied on that object in the downward direction uh, against the force of upthrust, against the upward force which is exerted by the fluid. तो यहाँ पे लिखा है upthrust due to water on block when fully submerged is more than its weight. Yes, of course it is more than its weight. I cannot fully agree with this answer because it does not justify the reason why a force is required to keep a block of wood inside water. ठीक है, तो तुम you will not write it's more than its weight, upthrust is more than the weight, but you will say that since the wooden block is floating, you need to exert more force against the upward force exerted by the fluid, that is the upthrust, to keep it submerged. बस इतना लिखोगे तो सही रहेगा. Then a piece of wood is left, if left underwater, comes to the surface. Explain the reason. Who can explain? Chalo. Om, can you explain? Om. A piece of wood, if left underwater, comes to the surface.
Sir, this happens due to the upthrust.
Will you write only this much? That is the explanation. You need to elaborate more. Elaborate more. Please elaborate more. What happens when you leave a piece of wood underwater? What happens when you leave it? What kind of forces are acting when you leave a piece of wood underwater? You might need to draw a diagram also with that. To get good marks, you need to explain with more clarity. Suppose this is piece of wood which is left under water. इस पे कौन से फोर्स एक्ट करेंगे बताओ? Which forces will act on it?
Sir, upthrust and gravitational force.
Very good, very good. So two forces will act on it. एक तो होगा उसका खुद का weight which is gravitational force, and दूसरा होगा upthrust that is due to the water. ठीक है, ये दोनों फोर्स इसके ऊपर एक्ट करेंगे, राइट?
Yes, sir.
Okay. When a piece of wood is left under water, the upthrust acting on the piece of wood will be greater than the weight of the wooden block. Since the net upward force is greater, hence the wooden block will soon rise to the surface of the water and starts flowing over there. Once it comes on the surface, अगर ये वुड सरफेस पे आ गया तो क्या होगा इस पोजीशन पे? इस पोजीशन पे यू विल नोटिस, इस पोजीशन पे यू विल नोटिस दैट द अपथ्रस्ट एंड द वेट ऑफ द wooden block becomes equal to each other, and the wooden block stops rising any further. ठीक है, समझ में आया कैसे लिखने का आंसर? इसको डायग्राम बना के एक्सप्लेन करना है, ठीक है? डू नॉट जस्ट आंसर इन वन सेंटेंस. So the answer is, when a piece of wood is left under water comes to the surface, since the upthrust or upward force is greater than the weight of the wooden block, once it comes on the surface it starts floating, since the upthrust becomes equal to the weight of the wooden block. That's it. Describe an experiment to show that body immersed in a liquid appears lighter than it really is. Experiment already यहाँ पे describe किया है. There are many experiments in fact. आई थिंक ये वाला एक्सपेरिमेंट तुम कर सकते हो. ये स्प्रिंग बैलेंस पे बॉडी को हैंग किया है, कितना वेट आ रहा है फर्स्ट केस में कितना वेट आ रहा है यहाँ पे?
300 ग्राम.
300 ग्राम. GF या ग्राम्स भी लिख सकते हो. वंस इट इज इमर्स्ड इन वाटर, व्हाट इज द वेट?
200.
Yeah, so this experiment shows that when a body is immersed in water, its weight decreases. इसका वेट डिक्रीज क्यों होता है? बिकॉज ऑफ अपथ्रस्ट, है ना? किसी भी बॉडी को फुल्ली सबमर्ज करोगे तो उस पर अपथ्रस्ट एक्ट करेगा एंड इट्स वेट विल डिक्रीज. उससे ही आगे आर्किमिडीज प्रिंसिपल का प्रूफ दिया है. डिस्क्राइब एन एक्सपेरिमेंट, ये लिखने की जरूरत नहीं है. A metal solid cylinder tied to a thread is hanging from a hook of a spring balance. The cylinder is gradually immersed into water contained in a jar. What changes do you expect in the readings of the spring balance? Explain your answer. ये अभी हमने डिस्कस किया है. Krish, I would like you to try this.
When the hook is above the water and we record the spring balance, we find that its weight is value A, and after the body is submerged in the jar, we find there is a gradual decrease in the weight of the body, which is B.
Okay.
This is due to this is because the weight is equal to the upthrust at that time when it is submerged.
Okay. So there are few changes in what you have said, which I would like to make. So first thing, you will say that do not mention any quantities. Okay. What you will observe is that when a cylinder is weighed in air, okay, it shows its true weight in air, and the weight is equal to the force due to gravity. Okay, now when this cylinder is submerged slowly into the water, its weight shown in the spring balance starts decreasing. This is due to the upthrust exerted in the upward direction by the water on the cylinder. Now, when the cylinder is completely immersed, when the cylinder is completely immersed, no, not like that. You can say that the weight continuously, or what you said was correct, that when the cylinder is immersed gradually in water, the weight of the cylinder as shown in the spring balance starts decreasing gradually and reaches a minimum value. Write that, note that, and means not note right now, but yeah, keep it in mind that the weight starts gradually decreasing and reaches a minimum value when the cylinder is completely immersed in water. जब पूरे सिलेंडर को वाटर में इमर्स कर देंगे तो वेट एक मिनिमम वैल्यू अक्वायर कर लेगा. Okay, so the weight will acquire a minimum value. The weight will not further decrease, will not decrease further. Once it is completely immersed, there will be no further decrease in the weight. Okay, after immersing the cylinder completely, the weight of the object uh, will not further decrease. It will reach a steady value, and uh, what they have asked further, what changes do you expect in the reading of spring balance? The spring balance reading will remain steady once the cylinder is completely immersed, and the value of the upthrust will become constant. So upthrust तभी बढ़ता है जब बॉडी वाटर सरफेस के ऊपर होता है थोड़ा सा. अगर उसको और नीचे सबमर्ज करोगे, जितना ज़्यादा वॉल्यूम बॉडी का सबमर्ज होगा पानी के अंदर, अपथ्रस्ट उतना बढ़ता जाएगा. When the body is completely submerged in water, the upthrust will be there, but it will become constant. It will not increase further. Okay, so you can frame like this. So this is a good answer. You can frame this. This ninth one is also your homework. Okay. Next, 10th, will a body weigh more in air or in vacuum when weighed with a spring balance? Give a reason for your answer. Will a body weigh more in air or in vacuum when weighed with a spring balance? Give a reason for your answer.
So in
Prajakta,
vacuum.
wait, Prajakta.
Yes, sir.
Prajakta, I asked a question. Answer it, please. And tell me the reason also.
So because the weight is actual weight and it is gained by the gravitational force.
No, but will the body weigh more in air or vacuum?
So in air.
You are wrong. Because air is a fluid, it will exert a little amount of upthrust. But vacuum, there is no matter, there is no fluid, there is nothing. So in vacuum, the body will weigh more. In vacuum, there is no upthrust on the body just like air. So in vacuum, the body will weigh more. Okay, because it does not exert any upthrust due to absence of any material. A body dipped into a liquid experiences an upthrust. State two factors on which upthrust of the body depends. Dhani,
Yes, sir.
on your cam first
Yes.
and keep it on, please. Yeah. A body dipped into a liquid experiences an upthrust. State two factors on which upthrust on the body depends. See, for this you should remember the formula of upthrust. Anybody remembers the formula of upthrust?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, tell me.
FB is equal to V rho G.
Very good. V rho G. So what is V?
Volume.
Volume of whom? Whose volume?
Volume of liquid displaced.
Sorry, volume of liquid.
Yeah, it is correct. And what you are saying, Krish?
The liquid displaced.
No, other one before that.
The volume of the body. That is
Immersed.
also immersed.
Both
So
are
that is
equal.
correct.
Both are equal. The volume of body immersed और the volume of liquid displaced. दोनों एक ही है. जितना वॉल्यूम ऑफ बॉडी इमर्स होगा उतना वॉल्यूम ऑफ लिक्विड इमर्स डिस्प्लेस होगा. ठीक है. सो दिस इज वॉल्यूम ऑफ बॉडी इमर्स्ड और वॉल्यूम ऑफ लिक्विड डिस्प्लेस्ड. दोनों है, दोनों एक ही चीज है. अच्छा, व्हाट इज दिस रो?
Density of the liquid.
वेरी गुड. डेंसिटी ऑफ लिक्विड. ये दोनों फैक्टर्स पे डिपेंड करता है अपथ्रस्ट. इसका मतलब क्या है? इसका मतलब ये है कि जितना ज़्यादा किसी बॉडी के वॉल्यूम को तुम इमर्स करोगे उतना ज़्यादा अपथ्रस्ट एक्सपीरियंस करेगा वो. दूसरा, लिक्विड की डेंसिटी जितना ज़्यादा होगी उतना ज़्यादा अपथ्रस्ट वो एक्सर्ट करेगा बॉडी के ऊपर. मतलब अगर किसी बॉडी को ज़्यादा अपथ्रस्ट चाहिए तो उसके बॉडी का ज़्यादा वॉल्यूम पानी के अंदर जाना चाहिए. दूसरा, अगर वो लिक्विड मर्क्यूरी है, मर्क्यूरी इज द लिक्विड विद हाईएस्ट डेंसिटी, तो इट विल एक्सर्ट मैक्सिमम अपथ्रस्ट. है ना. जितना लिक्विड का डेंसिटी ज़्यादा उतना अपथ्रस्ट ज़्यादा. ऑयल फ्लोट्स ऑन वाटर, मतलब ऑयल की डेंसिटी तो वाटर से भी कम है, तो ऑयल एक्सर्ट एज मच अपथ्रस्ट एज वाटर? नो.
No, sir.
No, it will not. It will not exert as much upthrust as water. Okay.
Sir, G is gravitational force.
Yes, acceleration due to gravity, not gravitational force,
Acceleration.
and that remains same in a particular place. So it does not depend. Yeah, you can say that that is not a quantity which we should be worried about, because that does not change easily. That changes from place to place on Earth. So at a certain place it remains constant. So you can say the two factors on which upthrust depends is V, volume of body immersed or volume of liquid displaced, and rho, which is density of liquid. Dhani, will you remember this? Remember it, okay? You were very excited for 6:30 a.m. class, but you are not excited right now when I'm teaching it actually. Chalo. Om. How is the upthrust related to the volume of body submerged in a liquid? अभी आंसर किया हमने. Come on, Om.
Sir, actually in the book, the 10th question we have a different one.
Okay. What is it?
Sir, the question is, a metal solid cylinder tied to a thread is hanging from a hook of a spring balance. The cylinder is gradually immersed in the water containing the jar. What it changes? I think it is the same.
It is the 9th question in my book.
And the 10th question in your book is the 9th question in our book.
Okay, okay. No problem. Om, 12th question please. How is the upthrust related to the volume of the body submerged in a liquid?
Sir, upthrust is greater related to the volume of the body submerged in liquid.
मतलब मैं समझा नहीं. क्या मतलब? फिर से बोलना, फिर से बोल. You did not frame it properly. Can you please frame it again? Om.
Sir, upthrust is greater to the volume of the sun.
Upthrust is greater to the volume. ऐसा कोई सेंटेंस ही नहीं बनता यार. Upthrust is greater to the volume. What is this? सेंटेंस बनाओ, क्या बोलना चाहते हो? हिंदी में बोलो, मैं बना के देता हूँ सेंटेंस. व्हाट डू यू मीन, मतलब मीनिंग क्या है तुम्हारा? मैं तुम्हें हेल्प करता हूँ सेंटेंस फॉर्मेशन में. टेल मी द.
सर
हाँ बोलो.
सर मतलब अपथरस ज्यादा होता है बॉडी के वॉल्यूम से सबमर्ज्ड.
इसका कोई मीनिंग नहीं है बेटा, ये क्या बोल रहे हो तुम? बॉडी के वॉल्यूम से सबमर्ज अपथरस ज़्यादा होता है, ऐसा क्या क्या है ये यार?
Sir, I think he's saying the upthrust is greater than the volume of the body submerged in the liquid.
So how you framed it? I am trying that he should frame it like that. You understand? When you submerge more volume of a certain body in a fluid, the upthrust experienced by the body increases. Greater the volume submerged, greater the upthrust experienced by a body. समझ में आया? अच्छे से फ्रेम करो, ये मैं दे रहा हूँ तुम लोगों को.
So we have to write it is directly proportional to volume.
Do not use proportionality over here, or you can use, although there is no issue, but do not, because that would not be theoretically correct. So you can say more the volume of, yeah, you can, it means the same mathematically, but do not write mathematically. I would say you write in words: more the volume of a body submerged in a fluid, greater the upthrust experienced by the body. Okay, next, Krish. Uh, the next question says that a bunch of feathers and a stone of the same mass are released simultaneously in air. Which will fall faster and why? How will your observation be different if they are released simultaneously in vacuum?
Uh, a bunch of feathers will fall faster. No, uh, the stone will fall faster because the upthrust reacting to it due to the air is higher. Is the weight of the stone is much more than the feathers, so the upthrust acting on the stone and the upthrust acting on the bunch of feathers is different.
Which
The
is
bunch of
greater?
feathers. What, sir?
Which is greater?
The upthrust is greater in the feathers.
Exactly. Very good. Very good. Correct. Correct.
Sir, can you help me to frame it?
Yes,
am
I will.
getting-
I will help you. I will help you. So when you release a bunch of feathers and a stone from a certain height in air, they both experience upthrust. But since the weight of the stone is greater than the upthrust experienced by the stone, it falls faster. Because the net downward force is greater, then that's why it falls faster. But in case of feathers, the upthrust experienced by the feathers will be greater than the weight of the feathers. Upthrust ज़्यादा रहेगा weight से, and that's why the net downward force is less. Okay, and that's why uh, the feathers will fall, but at a slower rate. Okay, so this is the reason. And how will your observation differ if they are released in vacuum?
Nothing will happen. Both will fall at the same time because there is no air to give an upthrust force.
Have you seen that video?
So the video you give.
No. Have you seen that actual video where feather and stones are dropped in the
I've
vacuum?
seen an egg and watermelon falling at the same.
Not
Not
feather
this.
and stone.
No, sir.
I will share with you in the group. It is amazing. You will see that in vacuum both are falling together, and in air, of course, stone will fall first. Okay. 14th question is the answer is also directly given over here. Prajakta, 15th question for you. A small block of wood is held completely immersed in water, in glycerine, and then released. In each case, what do you observe? Explain the difference in your observation in two cases. एक कंटेनर है जिसमें वाटर है, ठीक है, और दूसरा कंटेनर है जिसमें ग्लिसरीन है. डू यू नो एनीथिंग अबाउट ग्लिसरीन की डेंसिटी? प्राजक्ता,
No, sir.
प्राजक्ता, ग्लिसरीन इज डेंसर देन वाटर. ठीक है, ग्लिसरीन की डेंसिटी वाटर से ज़्यादा है. मतलब अगर ग्लिसरीन को पानी में डालेंगे तो वो सिंक हो जाएगा. लिक्विड है ग्लिसरीन, ठीक है, और वाटर की डेंसिटी ग्लिसरीन से कम है. सो एक वुड है, वुड का पीस है, ब्लॉक है, जिसको मैंने दोनों लिक्विड्स में कंप्लीटली इमर्स्ड होल्ड किया है. मतलब यहाँ पे वुडन ब्लॉक को मैंने होल्ड किया है दोनों लिक्विड में. ठीक है, अब मैं उसको रिलीज करता हूँ. व्हाट डू यू ऑब्जर्व इन वाटर एंड व्हाट वुड यू ऑब्जर्व इन ग्लिसरीन? प्राजक्ता,
Sir, maybe in glycerin it will float freely on the water surface.
in both it will float, right? Because wood floats on water as well.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but then what is the difference in the, what is the difference in your observation as soon as you release this wooden block? Anybody else would like to answer?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Krish?
Sir, when we release the wooden block in both the cases, the wooden block will reach the top of the surface much faster in glycerin than water.
Very good, very good, very good framing of answers also. In glycerine, the wooden block will reach much more faster to the surface as compared with water. Why?
Because the density of glycerin is much higher than water. It is for the same reason the upthrust acting on this block is higher in glycerin than that of water.
Very good, excellent answer. And what happens after they reach the surface?
Both will float.
But in which the volume of submerged part will be greater, and in which liquid the submerged part volume will be lesser? In
The
which,
submerged
yeah,
part in
yeah,
glycerin will be lesser and the submerged part in water will be higher.
very good. Why the submerged part in glycerine will be lesser?
Because the density of glycerin is higher, so the upthrust is higher, so it will make the object float above it.
Very good, excellent answers. Prajakta, is it clear? Is it clear, Prajakta? Okay, okay, great. So, in glycerine, the wooden block will rise much more faster and float as compared with water. Also, when the wooden block starts floating in glycerine, more volume of wooden block will be above the surface of glycerine as compared with water. Since glycerine is greater in density and it will exert more upthrust on any object which is immersed in it. Very good answer, Krish. Next question is, the answers are given, but I still would like to. Uh, okay, this has to be written. Huh? This is a nice question. Okay, next question. Answers are written. I will still like to go through the each of them. A body of volume V and density rho is kept completely immersed in a density of liquid of density rho L. Okay, remember, do not get confused because there are two densities here. Rho is the density of the body and rho L is the density of the liquid. Okay. If g is the acceleration due to gravity, write the expression for following. Weight of the body. Weight of the body. Now see, body's volume and body's density is given. They are asking the weight of the body. Now just see over here, I am giving you the derivation. So you might want to note it down also. This is very important as far as the numericals are concerned. I'm glad that we are discussing the questions and answers. For the first time, I'm doing that with any batch because I think that this is the best way of revising the topic. The best way of revising a topic because everything is covered. There are so many parts which are not so important in theory, but when you do question and answers, you actually focus on only the important part. You save your time, and also the doubts are cleared. Okay, what is the formula for weight? Weight is equal to mass into acceleration due to gravity, correct? Do you agree with this? Do you agree with this? Okay, I will tell you one formula for mass. Density is equal to mass upon volume. Do you know this formula? Density is mass upon volume from class 8th. So mass is
Yes.
equal to volume times density, V into rho. Okay, so I will replace the value of mass as V into rho, and G is as it is. So the formula for weight of the body will become V rho G. Weight of the body is V rho G. Acha, what is the rho over here? Rho is density of body, not the
Body.
liquid. Density of body. So V rho G. Remember the formula. Upthrust
Sir,
on the body.
here because we are talking about weight, it is the density of the body, right?
Exactly. And see the second question. Upthrust on the body.
In
Here,
that, the density will be above the liquid.
liquid. Exactly. So V rho Lg. The same formula, but the density will be of liquid. Apparent weight of the body in liquid. Now remember, whenever they are asking about apparent weight, apparent weight will be actual weight minus upthrust. Actual weight minus upthrust. Actual weight is V rho G minus upthrust is V rho L G. So it will be V G bracket rho minus rho L. It's the same thing written in a different way over here. Apparent weight. Actual weight minus upthrust. Loss in weight of the body. Loss in weight means how much the weight has decreased. So that is actual weight minus upthrust. Loss in weight, remember, loss in weight is actual weight minus upthrust. You can find the formula. Hey, no, apparent weight is actual weight minus upthrust. Loss in weight. Loss in weight is equal to the upthrust, na? Loss in weight is equal to the upthrust because a body when immersed in a liquid loses its weight.
Loses some amount of weight.
That is equal to the upthrust, that is equal to the net upward force. So loss in weight is equal to the upthrust. This is a good learning. Loss in weight is equal to upthrust. Apparent weight is actual weight minus upthrust.
Sir, apparent means
The one
actual
one which appears, the one which appears. So
Okay.
if a body is let's say 50 kg in weight, okay, its weight becomes in liquid it becomes 30 kg. The apparent weight is 30 kg. How much has it lost? 20 kg. So
20
20
kg.
kg will be the upthrust. Okay, 17th question is regarding the diagram, which we have already discussed. So let's go ahead. Okay, 18th question. Two balls, one of iron and other of aluminium, experiences same upthrust when dipped completely in water if both have equal volume. Although they have different densities, they will experience same upthrust. Okay, because upthrust experienced by a body depends on V, rho, G. Okay, यहाँ पे जो rho है that is density of liquid. G is a universal phenomena, means sorry, gravitation due to acceleration due to gravity. So that does not change with places at a single place. Density of liquid will not affect whether it is an iron ball or a aluminium ball. Only thing on which the upthrust depends is the volume. It is the volume. So both the balls should have same volume if they want to experience same upthrust. So different bodies of different densities of different masses experience same upthrust if they have the same volume. You understand? So upthrust
Yes, sir.
depends directly on the volume of the body. Doesn't matter, the materials are different, masses are different, densities are different. An empty tin container with its mouth closed has an average density equal to that of a liquid. The container is taken 2 meter below the surface of that liquid there and it is left there. Okay, so average density of empty container is equal to the liquid. Okay, the container will, after you leave 2 meter below, what will happen to the container? They are saying will remain in the same position.
Sir, can you repeat the question? I did not.
You take empty container whose average density is equal to that of a liquid. You take it below the surface of liquid and leave it there 2 meter below. Will the container come to the surface? Will it remain there or will it drown? They are saying it will remain at the same position. I want you all to find the reason for this. This is very interesting. Remember this. You know the answer. I'm not concerned with the answer. I'm concerned with the reason. Why will it remain there? Why will it remain there? Okay? Not now. Aram se you can find the answer. Okay, a piece of wood is left or held under water. The upthrust on it will be dash the weight of the wood piece. Whenever you take wooden piece down below the surface of water, what happens? It will come back to the surface.
Will
Why?
be more higher
Yes,
than the weight of
yes. It comes back to the surface because upthrust will be more than the weight of the wooden piece. Okay, so only the second one's reason you have to find. Why the empty tin container remains in the same position.
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, in the physics exam, there were 2-3 questions where we had to find the ratio of two given quantities.
Okay.
And that I found hard. I'll give you the questions.
Yeah. We'll have more such questions in the numericals.
Because I think ratio we did not do, or if we had done
We have
then
done in
our-
class 8th. Ratio we have done in class 8th.
So
Also
not
in
that
7th.
type of ratio. Finding ratio of two given quantities from a given question. They had given a question, and
Okay.
then you have to find the ratio between these two.
Just tell
Like
me.
that.
I will find the question and we will discuss in the live lecture, or maybe in the classroom we can discuss. Okay, let's go to the next question. There are 26 questions. We are on 19th. We can finish the theory part today, right? Prove that the loss in weight of a body when immersed wholly or partially in a liquid is equal to the buoyant force, and this loss is because of the different pressure exerted by the liquid on the upper and lower surfaces of the submerged part of the body. This we have proved it in this experiment. The cause of the reason for upthrust. Reason for upthrust. The loss in weight is due to the net upward force which is exerted on the upper and lower part of the body. P2 is greater than P1. ये हमने रीज़न डिस्कस किया था, उसको फिर से वो लोग लिखने के लिए बोल रहे हैं. Okay, so we can do that. That's not a big deal. A sphere of iron and another of wood of the same radius are held under water, compare the upthrust. We have already done this. One sphere is of iron and one of one of wood. They have the same radius. Same radius means same volume. Same volume. If they have same volume, then what does the upthrust depend on? Only volume and the liquid density and the acceleration due to gravity. So
So
they
both
both,
will experience the same upthrust.
yes. Yeah, so that's why the upthrust will be same, that is 1:1. Compare the upthrust. So the ratio is given over here, 1:1. That means the upthrust is same. A sphere of iron and another of wood, both of same radius, are placed on the surface of water. State which of the two will sink. Give reason to your answer. Now see, uh, iron sphere will definitely sink because the density of iron is greater than the density of water. So the net downward force or the weight of the iron acting in the downward direction will be more than the weight experienced in the upward direction by the iron sphere. Although both wood and iron sphere will experience the same upthrust, but since the weight of iron is greater than weight of water or weight of wood, that's why it will float. It will sink and wood will float. Okay, so this is due to greater density of iron, it will sink, and lesser density of wood, it will float. But since both have same volume, so both will experience same upthrust. No need to write this also. For writing, I have given you only selected questions. How does the density of a material of a body determine whether it will float or sink in water? How does the density determine? Density means mass per unit volume, right? If more mass is packed in a given volume of body, then it has more density.
The higher the density, the weight will increase.
No, the weight
No, sorry.
for a given volume, you can say that for a given volume, greater the density, greater will be the mass. Greater mass means greater weight in the downward direction. Like that, you can explain. Greater density means more mass in a given volume. More mass means more weight, and as the weight increases in a given mass of in a given volume of a body, its tendency to sink will also increase. So, with greater density, the tendency of sinking of a body will always increase. Then a body of density rho is immersed in a liquid of density rho L. State the condition when the body will float or sink. For floating, the density of the body should be less than or equal to the body density of the liquid. अगर दोनों का डेंसिटी इक्वल है लिक्विड का और बॉडी का तो फ्लोट करेगा. अगर लिक्विड का
And the
डेंसिटी
density is higher than that of the density of the liquid, it will sink.
sink.
The liquid
But if the density of a body is less than the density of liquid, then also it will float.
will float.
Yes. It is easier
And
to,
then in that
yeah.
can thing which we had just now, the 10th question's B part, the density of the can was average. It was average of the liquid, right?
Yeah.
Average equal to the
Yes.
liquid. If it was less than the liquid, so why it will stay inside the water?
That is the thing. That is what you have to find out.
Okay, sir.
It is easier to lift a heavy stone under water than in air.
The weight of the body decreases when it is inside the water.
No, weight does not decrease. Yes, tell me.
So in water, the upward force is exerted on the stone, and in air, the gravitational force is exerted on the stone.
No, in air also there is upthrust. But the upthrust exerted by air is less than the upthrust exerted by water. Water exerts more upthrust than air. And that's
Because it
why,
is denser than air.
yeah, and that's why the stone which is kept under water experiences more upthrust inside the water and that's why it is easier to lift it underwater than as compared with air, because in air the upthrust is there but it is less. State Archimedes principle. We have to talk a lot on Archimedes principle. Archimedes principle is given over here. It states that when a body is immersed partially or completely in a liquid, it experiences an upthrust which is equal to the weight of the liquid displaced by it. Any body which is immersed partially or completely in a liquid experiences an upthrust which is equal to the weight of the liquid displaced by it. Which is equal to the weight of the liquid displaced by it. Remember this principle, please. Describe an experiment to verify Archimedes principle. So that experiment where we took a object and tied it with a string and attached it with a spring balance and then lowered it into a liquid, its weight decreased. But its weight, the decrease in its weight was equal to the weight of the liquid displaced by it. See this one. The weight was 300 grams in air, became 200 grams in a liquid, so the weight decreased by 100 grams. But if you check, the liquid displaced by this submerged body was 100 ml. 100 ml means 100 grams in weight. So whatever upthrust is experienced by a body, the same amount or same weight of the liquid is displaced by the body. So this experiment verifies the Archimedes principle. यहाँ भी लिखा भी है verification of Archimedes principle.
Milliliter equal to gram?
Yeah, 1 ml is equal to 1 gram. You know why? This you have studied it earlier, but I'll tell you why. See, 1 ml is equal to 1 cc. 1 cc is 1 centimeter cube, okay? Density of water is 1 gram per centimeter cube. That means 1 gram of water occupies 1 centimeter cube, right? But 1 centimeter cube is 1 ml. So 1 gram of water occupies 1 ml, and that's why 1 ml is 1 gram. So in water it is very easy. If you have 200 ml of water, that means 200 grams of water. It's not
2.5 liters is 2.5 kg.
2.5 kg. But it is only in case of water, not in case of milk or oil or any other liquid. Only water. Water has the density 1 gram per centimeter cube. That's why. So it's very easy, fairly easy to understand this. Okay, so that is the verification of Archimedes principle. You need to write question number 25 and 26 as well. Okay, so I've discussed all the theoretical questions, and I've given you some homework, that is question 25, 26, 18th का B का reason you have to find, question number 15, 12th, 9th, 5th. ठीक है? That is your work for today. अच्छा, next, let me just stop the recording and then I'll